Today was my first ever trip to Savannah, Georgia. So, what advice would I have for others like me who are planning to do the same? Well, I would sum it up in 3 bullet points. And the first bullet point is, if you haven't already, put Savannah, Georgia on your bucket list. It's an amazing place. It's located down there on the Savannah River waterfront, and it's just across the South Carolina border. There's lots of things to do, lots of places to see, lots of places to eat, and there's shopping galore. It's more than anyone could do in a weekend, so where should I start? And that leads me to bullet point number 2. Find a group event that looks interesting and book it. All you got to do is Google it. I quickly Googled and found horse and buggy rides, historic walking tours, riverboat rides on the scenic Savannah River, complete with lunch and dinner and sightseeing. There were so many events and there was so little time, so I chose the Haunted Pub Crawl Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. and it started out at Churchill's Pub, and then we visited other pubs along our route, each with its own unique haunted history. And while you're on this tour, you can carry your favorite legal beverage with you, as long as it's in a cup. They don't allow any cans or any bottles. And the bars and pubs along the way are very strict about ID. They do check birth dates and expirations. And our tour guide Jack led the way to an evening of supernatural enlightenment. It was the best of both spiritual worlds in about 2 hours. And by the time it was over, I'd made some memories as well as some new friends along the way. And who knows, try it yourself. You may even see a ghost or two. The cost was a mere $35, and it had a rating of 4.8 out of 5. And that, my friends, is pretty darn good. I recommend. And before moving on, I would like to add that each pub you go to, you can purchase the libation of your choice, and you can take it with you as you head to your next destination. That leads us to our third and final bullet point, number 3. Now, number 2 and number 3 can be interchanged. One gives you a riding view, and one gives you a walking view of scenic and historic Savannah, Georgia. So the next day, on Friday, I went and I booked the trolley ride. Now, the trolley runs 6 days a week. I believe it's Monday through Saturday. They're off Sunday. And the rides run until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And the price was $42.75. Now, the trolley has 16 different stops, and you can start or stop at any one of the 16 trolley locations. I started at number 12 down along the waterfront, not too far from my hotel, and viewed each one of the sites from the comfort of my trolley seat. And yes, this is a guided tour with your trolley driver doing the narration and pointing out historic sites along the way. And there from my seat, I was able to view the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist, the oldest tree in Georgia, 350 years in the making. Some of the sights from the book Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, as well as the Independent Presbyterian Church, which you can see from a distance, and it became famous, semi-famous, for the site where Forrest Gump's favorite park bench scene was shot. And there is also a scene somewhere in the area shot to resemble Vietnam, from what I was told. And you can also shop, eat, or just look around. Now, the rest of my video will focus on the one stop that I did make, and I think you'll enjoy it. And that, my friends, would be the Prohibition Museum, which turned out to be, ironically, just like my starting out point, only a few blocks away from my hotel. And the Prohibition period ran from about 1920 to 1933. And it included a nationwide ban on the manufacture, the transportation, the sale, and the importation of intoxicating liquors, but one thing it doesn't mention, it never mentions drinking. But without all the other elements, drinking liquor can be quite challenging. But the American people proved that they were indeed up to the challenge, as organized crime swooped in quickly in order to help fill the American pastime now banned by a constitutional amendment. The likes of Al Capone, Jack McGurn, and Bugs Moran leading the way. And leading up to this period was the temperance movement, and one of the historic figures behind it was a lady named Carrie A. Moore, who became Carrie A. Nation. Yes, that was her real married name after marrying her second husband. She believed she had received a message from God, and it was now her divine duty to bust up every bottle, every can, every keg of alcohol, wherever it may be, in the bars and the taverns that sold it. And yes, Carrie A. Nation was an imposing figure, standing about 6 feet tall. And yes, she must have been without sin, because she was the first to begin throwing stones, rocks, bottles, whatever it took to stop the liquor trade. And all that led up to the use of her soon-to-be trademark hatchet that she used in her march from Kiowa, Kansas, all the way over to Wichita in her statewide assault on alcohol in the bars and taverns that sold it. And in one hatchetation session, Carrie ended up being jailed because not only did she bust up taverns and saloons, but she also busted up some private property belonging to private individuals and that had nothing to do with the liquor trade. And she found herself in jail. And interestingly, it's said that she raised bail money through speaking engagements and selling copies of her now famous hatchet. Many involved in the temperance movement applauded her actions, but only at a safe distance, believing nonviolent means could be a better way to slow down the growing influence of alcohol on America. Bury the hatchet, and let's find a way to meet halfway, somewhere in the middle. And one such group willing to bury the hatchet was a fun-loving bevy of beauties that became known as the Flappers. And helping to define the era of the speakeasy, these ladies used their newfound freedom under the 19th Amendment to dance their way into the hearts of men, wherever they may be. And also started a dance craze called the Charleston. With alcohol now officially illegal, mobster and moonshiner alike will resort to illegal activities to deliver a bootleg supply to taverns and speakeasies and the shady underground activities that come with it. A group known as the Moonshiners soon joined the mobsters in making their own liquor. Whether it was whiskey, rum, or white lightning, they had the stills to fill your order. However, transporting liquor from the growing still industry to your local speakeasy or tavern, well, that was yet another matter, and they'd need some help. Moonshine runners stepped in to fill the need, and they did it with speed. And with the help of willing automobile mechanics, they took ordinary and everyday cars. They installed heavy-duty shocks and springs to carry the weight of several hundred gallons of liquor to their appointed destination. Yes, they had a load to carry, and they had to get there fast because the revenuers were hot on their trail. And what began as an illegal activity turned into a national sport in the form of stock car racing and then NASCAR. Imagine yourself trying to outrun the revenuers on a winding mountain road at high speeds. And in order to avoid them, you also had your lights turned off. These drivers definitely developed some unique driving skills. And these moonshine runners developed several interesting techniques to get away from the revenuers. One was the bootleg turn, which was a hit your brakes and do a 180 turn and head the other direction. Also, if the feds were in hot pursuit, they could sometimes spill oil out of the back to make the road slick, or some of them even had the function to do a smoke screen to help evade their followers. Well, with the revenuers now safely behind them, these moonshine runners have arrived at their speakeasy with their goods, and so have I. So I'm going to go in and order the drink of my choice, and today I have chosen to have the bartender prepare me a Mary Pickford. And yes, it was indeed delicious. So with Prohibition now being over, I will offer these parting words. I'll drink to that. Well, that's what I did in my 2 days in Savannah, Georgia. The question is, what will you do with yours? And this is Jeff signing off from Savannah, Georgia, and saying, happy travels, everyone, from here in the South until we meet again.